BMW got off to an early start with electrification thanks to its i sub-brand. But so far it's remained niche, and mainstream models have only included PHEVs. Even Jaguar beat them to full electric models with its I-Pace. Well, BMW is now making up for that, and it's made here in China.
Today we're going to have a look at BMW's attempt to close the gap between it and the competition, the BMW iX3, and compare it to a similar full electric option available here on the Chinese market since the end of last year, the Nio ES6.
We'll see if BMW makes it up for being late for the party and create something that's truly innovative. If you're saying this doesn't look new, well, remember, it is near identical to the regular X3. The main changes are these wheels, which have aerodynamically enhanced covers, and there's also a none too subtle badge behind them. BMW has also fitted air curtains to the wheels to improve airflow, but they are less obvious. There is also some blue highlighting around the propeller badge, at the bottom of the kidney grille and doors, and at the rear diffuser.
Unlike the BMW iX3, the ES6 is not a style that's been derived from an internal combustion model, but rather a completely unique look. Now, it also doesn't go overboard when it comes to communicating the fact that it is a full electric model, with a traditional grille opening here, as opposed to the solid piece that you see on some other electric cars. This is complemented by the unique headlight design, which pairs a vertical lower light and a slim, striking horizontal upper. The ES6 is about 200 millimeters longer than the iX3, giving it a lower, sleeker appearance. The rear features Nio's signature spark beat taillights.
Again, the interior is almost a complete carryover from the ICE model. There is, though, one big difference. The instrument panel is completely digital for a far more modern look. Also, the infotainment system gets screens related to the car's battery management and range, along with giving info on charging stations. It runs the latest BMW operating system, 7, enabling over-the-air updates. Styling-wise, there are blue highlights on the doors and the drive selector, giving a mellower ambience to the cabin. The car gets 2 trim levels, the standard, inspiring, and the higher, impressive. I kid you not with those names.
On the interior, the ES6 continues to straddle the world of full electric cars and internal combustion cars. Now, it does feature a large center touchscreen, but it also retains some redundant controls for things like the home button as well as volume control. In terms of creature comforts, this SUV is equipped with heated, cooled, and massaging seats up front, as well as what Nio calls the Queen seat, a front passenger seat that has features straight out of a first-class airplane cabin, including 160 degrees of recline and leg rests. Where the ES6 really starts to shine, however, is when it comes to the specs. Customers can choose between 2 ternary lithium-ion batteries, a 70 kilowatt-hour option that has 420 kilometers of range, or a 100 kilowatt-hour option with 610 kilometers of range. Regardless of whichever one you choose, Nio's other big innovation is battery swapping. There are battery swapping stations strategically spread along roadways here in China, where you can change out your 70 kilowatt-hour battery for a 100 kilowatt-hour battery that you can simply pay to rent for perhaps a long road trip. Nio has also announced that they will be starting to sell their products at a slightly reduced price and then allow people to pay to rent the battery. This addresses a common concern among electric car buyers, which is depreciation. Here behind you, you can see what is a display that shows what these battery swapping stations here on the roadways actually look like. It's as simple as driving your car into the station, getting out, and then the rest of it is done automatically. Of course, there are attendants that will help you and coach you through the process, but it's genuinely very, very simple. Regardless of which battery you choose, the ES6 comes in 2 power levels. The Sport trim, which gives you 320 kilowatts or 430 horsepower and 610 newton meters or 450 pound-feet of torque, or the Performance trim, which step things up to 400 kilowatts, 536 horsepower, and 725 newton meters or 535 pound-feet of torque. Much as you would expect, range will shrink a bit if you choose the more powerful version,
0 to 100 km per hour times range from 5.6 all the way down to 4.7 seconds.
Currently, the BMW iX3 only offers one battery pack with 80 kilowatt hours gross. That gives the car a range of 520 kilometers, 323 miles on the NEDC cycle. Powering the car is a motor on the rear axle. That has 210 kilowatts, that's 282 horsepower, and it gives 400 Newton meters of torque. The lack of a four-wheel drive option and perceived limited range are some of the reasons it's claimed the car will not be going to the US. Trump administration trade sanctions might be more the real reason. Despite a reasonably slippery shape, with a drag coefficient of 0.29, the iX3 can only manage the 0 to 100 km an hour, 0 to 62 mile per hour time of 6.8 seconds, a far cry from the ES6 figures. Unlike the ES6, there is no battery swapping option. However, BMW offer a charging network of 150,000 stations across Europe and claim worldwide the number is at least double. It can, however, with fast charging, go up to 80% in 34 minutes. One novel feature is adaptive recuperation from braking. Working in conjunction with the navigation, the system adapts the amount of energy recovered based on the road situation, leading to better range and comfort. With the battery low down in the iX3, it lowers the center of gravity by 7.5 centimeters compared to the regular X3, thereby enhancing cornering ability.
The win has to go to the ES6 when it comes to the specifications department, delivering similar or even longer range at higher levels of power. It also offers battery swapping, which is something the iX3 will never be able to do. This is due, obviously, to the fact that it's built on a dedicated electric car platform with electric motors front and rear versus the single rear-mounted motor on the iX3. The design, of course, is something that's subjective, but I do think that the ES6 looks like nothing else on the road, which is, if you're into that, a very good thing. When it comes to pricing, the ES6 wins again, starting around $52,000 here in the Chinese market versus the $60,000 of the iX3, noting that the iX3 will start around $80,000 in Western markets.
If you're in Europe, the win has to go to the iX3 because as yet it's unclear when Nio will start exports, whereas the iX3 should be on sale around about the end of the year. Equally, the BMW badge has far more cachet and would offer what many would see as a far safer entry into the world of EVs. In many ways, though, the iX3 is a stopgap car for BMW until they can produce the dedicated iNext SUV. Thank you very much for joining us and stay tuned for more Beijing auto content.